So what I want to do is kind of let's do a review, kind of like we do on all of them, to kind of catch everyone up and where we're going today. We're actually going to get into the nitty gritty part of selling the property today. We'll go over, how to set your ad up and those sort of things to get to your paycheck. That's where we want to be at the end anyway. So that's what we're going to cover primarily today. But a little review, share the screen here. First class we did way back when we talked about why land is the best real estate investing strategy. Again, a big reason for that is that not as many people are doing it. Are there people investing in land? Absolutely, but not near the number as in houses. We talked about the different types of land, the large parcels, infill parcels, and just building lots, those sort of things, just multiple kinds, commercial land, that sort of thing. Where and how to determine the best land investing areas. We kind of went through a scenario of how we kind of can use Zillow and datausa.io for the economic site. Again, that's datausa.io as our economic site, just to make sure the economics of the county is good, as well as Zillow looking at the for sales and the solds in the last couple years. I usually go back about 24 months. Steps in creating your official business, getting your business off the ground so you are a true investing company. It's not a habit or a hobby. Business communication systems, emails, phone systems, taking calls from sellers as well as buyers. We went over those sort of things. I also talked about obtaining and cleaning lists, where you can get a list. Do I get it through a list source? Do I get it through a title company, or do I get it through the county itself? And then what do I need to clean off of that list to make this a better list? I also talked about responding to seller leads when you mail that list out to get people to call you about buying their property. How do I respond to those sellers? We talked about ways to respond to them, getting more information, that sort of thing. Skip tracing, we talked a little bit about. That's when you get mail back. It's undeliverable. There's several different skip tracing sites that you can go to. BeenVerified.com is one that I've used before that's pretty good, but there's multiple ones out there that you can get a lot of times a little better up-to-date address on the person because it looks at more things. Let's look here. Our second class, we talked about the steps in terms of values of property. We looked at county websites. We also utilized how you can utilize Zillow to determine values in a lot of cases. And we wanted to talk about how to make offers, the different ways to make offers. We got phone, we got email, and we got regular mail. The pros and cons of that we talked about. I'm still old school and I still like the mailing the offers out to them. We also talked about the offer packet and what was involved in that. Again, that was the letter. That's the cover letter, the contract, and an envelope for them to send it back to you. You don't necessarily have to actually go and put a stamp on that, so to speak, but you can send a self-addressed envelope back. And last month, we talked about a little bit more in detail about phone offers and mailed offers and electronic offers not accepted, how to handle those, offers that are accepted. And we talked about when the offer accepted about the property due diligence period and going through the due diligence of the property and the important things you can get out of that. Some of the key things are whether it's got a sewer, if it needs a sewer septic system, the well or county water, city water, the size of the property, is any back taxes, which you should be looking at on the front end, but double checking that as well as what it's zoned. The GPS coordinates is another great feature if you use landmasters.us as your go-to or guide or source for doing your due diligence. They do a good job of putting those GPS coordinates for the property on your report. That way people can find the property easier and those sort of things. So double check everything here. Just to let everybody know, feel free, if I'm on something, it doesn't make sense, stop me. I'll be glad to answer questions as we go. Also, I will definitely answer questions at the end of our segment and talk to you about, wherever we need to clarify things. But if you got something as we go forward, that's fine. You can stop me and I'll be glad to look at it closer. We're going to talk about marketing photos. We touched on this last time, but I wanted to put it together because it kind of brings the rest of the ad build, ad copy, and all that together. So I wanted to go back over that. The biggest question I always ask myself, do I want to create those photos or do I want someone else? I hire it out. It costs me roughly about $15 to get the pictures. And I'll show you some of my ads where, they put all the diagrams and all that sort of thing on it. It's a time saver for me. They can do it. My VA can do it a lot quicker than I personally can do it. I could do it. I just don't like doing it. So I hire that out. Some of the key pictures that we look at, we want to look at aerial views with the property that's highlighted, aerial pics with the dimensions of the property, nearby towns and cities, how close is the property? Because the biggest thing we want to get out of this is we're not just selling a piece of dirt, we're actually selling a lifestyle or that community itself. That's why we want the amenities, restaurants, shopping, parks, lakes, etc., hospitals. And you want some call to action photos. So I want to switch here on you and show you a couple of those photos that I'm actually talking about. That's not it. Pull it up here. All right. Now let's try this. All right. Here we go with those photos again. This is literally one of my ads that's currently up there. It's actually under contract to sell and should close next week. But this is a good attention grabber thing. Priced at $9,900, below market value price. Here's a little action, little thing, 1 acre, Williston, Florida, mobile homes allowed, buy now. We talk about action words. That's an action word, obviously, buy now. I also advertising owner financing available so that if someone doesn't have the funds, and this is a property that we can literally owner finance. A couple other things. This is important too. This picture right here, and it gives the dimensions of the property. It obviously they're not to scale, but it gives people a better idea and a better understanding of the layout of this property. Like this property, for the most part, is a pretty squared up square. We talked about cities that was nearby. Now here's some of the larger cities. This was an important one here, and this is in Florida, as I talked about. 45 minutes, Cedar Key Beach. So you're 45 minutes from the beach, Gainesville, Florida, Chiefland, Ocala, however you want to say it. So it shows you how close you are to properties. Another highlighted aerial view of the property. This kind of gives an avenue of where the roads are there with the property. And it's actually a picture of the property. It's a road picture of it. And it's also talking about electricity is available on the property. One way you know that is there's power lines up there. We talked about the community features and things. So this just talks about things that are nearby, but botanical gardens, a spring, things like that, things to do with you and your family if you were to build your home there. Another wetlands park, zip line adventure park, just a few things that you can do there. You don't have to, look at this a lot, or put a lot of stuff on it, but you want to put something to let people know what's going on around the property. This is a really good photo. What I love about this property, the best price in market for $9,900 per acre. That's what you want to do. You want to be bold, almost bragging. I'm not a person that likes to brag, but you want to brag about your deal being the best deal. You know, here's other properties that have sold near it: 16,000, 30,000, 33, 32, 32, 25. I want somebody, when they look at my property, say, wow, this is a deal. At the very least, I want them to look at it. It may not be the property for them, but I want them to at least look at it. Hopefully they'll call me. And if it's not the property for them, I can put them on my buyers list, which is another thing we're going to talk about today. But this is a very powerful photo. Last thing, call us today. That's another call to action. Tells the county it's in on it today. Just another aerial view of it to give you a little outpost of it. So that's some of the things, some of the pictures that we look at putting on our ads. So that's something to keep in mind when you're building. If you're doing the ads yourself, again, there's virtual assistants out there that will do it, but it's something to keep in mind. We don't have any questions on ads or on the marketing. Let's go into the photo copy or ad copy of the write-up. This is where you actually write up what's in the property, what's on the property. And we'll go through this list, and then what we'll do is we'll actually look at some examples of that. Title of your ad, that's your attention grabber. That's the thing when they're scrolling through Zillow, Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, whatever place you put it, you want some sort of attention grabber, something that hopefully will make your ad stand out a little bit. It may be bragging about how good of a deal it is, or, you know, best view around, something to add that pulls that in and lets people understand that. Some of the ad content. And what you can do, and I typically do, it's almost, if you'll look at my ads, and I'll show you a couple of them, they're written basically the same. It's almost like a template. You want to emphasize the discount price. You do that. We did it on the photos. We showed you that. We're also going to do it in the ad itself. Percentage versus dollar amount. If you've got a discounted $2,000, that may not be huge when you say a $2,000 discount, but you can also say 20% off the value, or you can say this property is selling at 80% of value. Now the 80%, you're selling, and I'm going on like a property price, let's say $10,000, and we're selling it for $8,000. It's 20% below market value. Well, we could say 20% more below market value. That sounds good, but what sounds better? 80% of market value. It's kind of like you go, especially at the beaches and places, you see these stores, these wings and tsunami shops and things that says going, if you read it quickly, it says going out of business, you think. But what it says is going out for business. It's just a little small wording that changed it. So 80%, $88,000 is what I'm paying for it. That's 80% of the value. So, you know, 80% of the value, that just, it's a big attention number that grabs people attention. The call to action words, we talked about those. To buy now, you saw that. Hurry up, don't wait, you know, contact us before it's gone. Create a sense of urgency. Look, this property is not going to last. You got to call us today, or it may be gone tomorrow. And then we talk about the property and its qualities. Obviously, we want to emphasize things on the property itself, not just the things around it, but also the property itself. Describe it, the benefits of it, that sort of thing. And accessibility. If it's a remote property, describe the privacy and seclusion benefits of that. For example, if you got a property out in the middle of nowhere, you want to be able to maybe your appeal is for people that want to live off the grid or get away from everything. offers privacy, things like that. Where if it's in, within close to town, it may mean that, close to restaurants and shopping and things. You also want to put some of the key due diligence points on your ad, an address if it has it. Now, if it doesn't have an address, a lot of times land sometimes don't have addresses, and that's okay. If let's say there's a house beside that property and it's 123 Main Street and it sits to the left of the property, I may put 123 Main Street property is to the left of 123 Main Street, whatever, USA, just to give people a better way to get to the property. They can put it into a regular GPS thing. I also put the GPS coordinates so people can actually just punch in the GPS coordinates and go directly to the property as well. Power is important. Is there power nearby? Is there the water? Are they going to have to dig a well, or is there public water nearby? Because that's going to affect, their bottom dollar when they're buying. Same thing with sewer. Is there a public sewer system, or are they going to have some sort of septic system? Now, one thing, if you get in that they do need a septic system, a lot of times what they're going to ask for also, your end buyer may ask, well, I need to have a perk test done. What's a perk test? A perk test determines the ground's absorbability, if you will. To put the Cliff Note version of a septic system is you put it in the ground, you put lines out, and if that property is too moist, too rich, and will not absorb things, then they won't allow a home on it, if that makes sense. But again, if you've got public water and sewer, or public sewer, that's not an issue. Also, if it's got HOAs, and a lot of times now my due diligence report we went over last time doesn't necessarily show HOAs. I always double check that. And a lot of times you can look at any properties, whether it's land or houses in that neighborhood, and see they're currently listed, read their description, see if they talk about an HOA. Also ask the seller if there's an HOA, and if there is, ask them for a contact, because you want to know how much that HOA is. Can you get a copy of the covenants and restrictions, that sort of thing. A lot of HOAs even have website addresses that you can send a particular person to. So those are some of the things that they've got. So let's look at one of the ads itself. Look at this one. So this one right here, we're going, instead of focusing on the picture as much, I want to go over here to the details. If you notice, this one's pending, but this is my attention grabber. We talked about the title. Buy this lot today for over $5,000 below market value. That's an attention grabber. That gets people's attention. County market value of this property is $15,450. Other sites show even a higher market value. Remember the picture we showed of the Zillow? Showed them more prices. Buy today for thousands less. There's my action word. Cash buyers get a deeper discount. That's always good, in that you're advertising a price, but you're willing to give a discount to a cash buyer. Here's a little bit we talked about. I talked about the property itself. It's a beautiful 1 acre lot located in Williston. You want to talk about the area. Now, where do I get this information? It's the gateway to the nature's coast. It's a quiet town, lives 35 miles from Gainesville, Ocala. I find a lot of that stuff I can get actually. I can get a lot of that stuff from my pictures. It showed how far it was from different areas. But I also Google it and get that information. Talking about privacy, like this one has privacy to it. There's a house right here, but other than that, you've got some good privacy. So when we talk about enjoy the privacy, still being close to major cities, scroll this down. Relaxed and friendly small town atmosphere continues to draw hundreds here each year as a vacation destination, winter retreat, or a new home. So you're showing people that maybe they want a vacation home here, maybe they want to wear a retreat, or maybe they want to live here full time. It's appealing to the masses. Enjoy the lushness of botanical gardens, riding elephants, swimming in crystal clear, fresh water springs. It's going back to those photos of things in the community that you can do. It's peaceful surroundings, low crime rate, unmatched sense of community. The city's motto is a good place to live, work, and play. Just building up the community, building up what's around it. Well, how's it going to be to live there? Big important thing and big due diligence thing. Mobile homes are allowed on this property. A lot of people want to know if a mobile home can be put on property, depending on the area. But that's a big thing. It goes down here. If you're a cash buyer, you get it for $9,900. If you need financing, we can accommodate that as well, $12,900. So if you're getting a $3,000 discount if you can pay cash for it versus the financing price. We talked about facts to the property. Here's the facts to the different properties. It's Florida, Levy County. Address. This is one we were talking about, located next to a house, located just to the right of the house, located at 16151 Northeast 50th Street, Williston. That's this house. So I'm telling them, if they find that house, look to the right. That's where the property is. It's also got the GPS coordinates that's going to bring you to this property. Again, the same size. The zoning is important. Agricultural, rural, residential. That's the common zoning in Florida. Types of homes allowed. Stick-built homes and mobile homes allowed. Stick-built homes are just basically new construction, what that means. But mobile homes are allowed. Power's nearby. Tells you you'll need a well on this property and a septic system is needed. So those are two things. I always like to put this little thing here on it. Just a catch-all. Buyer responsible to verify all information counted with county and neighborhood prior to purchasing the property. So if somebody asks me, can a mobile home be put on here? If they directly ask me that, I will say, according to the county, yes, a mobile home can be put on this property, but I encourage you to double check with the planning and zoning department to make sure the type of mobile home you specifically want to put is allowed. That takes that burden and responsibility off of you. You've got it in your ad, but you've also told them, yeah, that's what they tell me, at least the person I talked to, but you may want to call yourself and just verify. I know if I was buying a piece of property, I'd verify it myself. So that's some of the things. I want to show you another one, just give you another idea of one. Back to the first picture. Lot for sale. It's telling you what it is. 1.03 acres. Own it today. This one happens to be in North Carolina. Call us today. So 2 call of actions words there. Again, this is a mountain area in North Carolina, so it kind of shows the slope and things. I've got the dimensions again. It's important. There's a park, Lakeside Park, State Mountain Park, a couple major or larger cities nearby. This right here is a home that actually is beside the property. I put that on there basically, and I do this on some, I don't do it on all of them. But what this does here is it shows the type of homes that are around it. Somebody can say, oh, wow, I'd love to have a home like that, built on my lot. This is near Street Road view. Again, here's that thing. Our property is listed at 15.9. Here's 32.5, 49, 35, 57. That's property is actually for sale. So that just shows, again, showing how well of a deal our property is. Interested in this property, call or text Mike today. So it's another one. This should really probably be one of the top picture, because look at that view. That's the view that was actually of that house. That's their view. So you're going to have, it's not your view, so to speak, but you're going to have a similar view. Again, $10,000 price drop. Build your dream home with mountain views and convenience too. So I'm catching all their stuff. 50% below market value. It's one of the first things in the ad. As we go down, great mountain views, privacy, yet convenient to nearby towns. It gives the towns. I got this right here actually off the Morgan website. So much to do in downtown. There's places to eat, shop, live music, open nights, local breweries serving craft beers, fundraisers, galas, just showing everything. Upscale dine to relaxed cafes. So appealing to everybody. If somebody's in the arts, those type of things. Just trying to appeal to the masses on everything. Neighborhood homes are beautiful too. See a picture of neighbor's house. Your new home, this acre lot will be just as beautiful. Be able to sit down on your porch and enjoy the mountain air and views. Hurry up and contact us before the property's gone. Another action words. Then I'm talking about those other properties being so expensive and the deal on my property. Again, we've got the facts. This one doesn't have an address, but it's just to the left of 3819 Methodist Park Road at the intersection. And here's the GPS coordinates as well. This has county water available, but it still needs a septic system. And 50% off, 75% market value on some of the other stuff you look at. Buyer responsible for verifying all the information. So again, I put that little caveat in there so people know that they're responsible for that. Questions so far? Anybody have any questions so far? If not, we will continue on. I want to talk about marketing your property. And what we're going to look at is a couple things. Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, and Zillow are three of the top ones that we look at marketing properties. And I'll show you some examples of those things as we go through this. The Facebook Marketplace you've seen. Let's double check here. You ever go to tax lien deed sales to try to acquire land? I don't, just because it's easier for me because I do it all around. It's just easier for me to send out the letters. And a lot of times about 75, 80% of our properties don't end up not having any tax issues anyway. So it ends up being better just to send the letters. But it is a way. And if funds are maybe, let's say funds are a little tighter, you don't have a budget for mailing or something, that may be an option to get your foot in the door. So it's a very good question. Definitely something that you can do. Let's look at Craigslist first. Pull up here. All right, so this is Craigslist. This is my account. So let's say that we wanted to do a new listing. I'll show you a quick listing that you can do on Craigslist. New posting in Charlotte, North Carolina. This one is where this happens to be Charlotte. That's where I want to do a little note. And I teach this deeper if you're really into all the Craigslist stuff, but you want to go to the Craigslist site that's for that area. You click go. What do you have here? Well, you're going to probably say, well, this is a for sale by owner. Yeah, it should be, but it's actually going to be housing offered. So you click that. Rooms, housing swap, real estate by broker, real estate by owner, vacation rentals. Like, I don't see land here. It's real estate by broker or by owner. I'm sorry, unless you are a broker. You continue there. Housing type. This is where we get to land. Land right there. So you put great deal in the mountains. let's say Morganton. Actually, let's use a 8054. Do that. Price, let's say it's $10,000. Square footage, that's where if if it's 43, let's say it's 43,000, that's basically an acre. Doesn't have laundry. No laundry on site. Parking, we may be parking off street. Select date available. Let's make it available today. And the Craigslist relay, I would put my phone number there just so they could reach me or text me, because a lot of people like to text. If you want to get a cross street of it, you can do that. Let's say it's 100 East Main Avenue. Let's see. Gastonia. Again, I'm just throwing in things. It shows you East West Main. So you can actually, if you do have an address, you can get it in there. Next, you're going to go to images, add images. I can add images. Let's go to desktop. So we're going to hold the control button down and get a few pictures. I just did 3. It's a good thing to remember is at Craigslist, you can have up to 24 images. Facebook Marketplace is 10. Zillow is unlimited. But these are done with images. So here's the unpublished draft. That's how quick it is to set that up. Now, when you're writing your ad copy, I write it on actually just a Word document, because I can copy and paste that to Zillow, to Craigslist, to Facebook Marketplace, to anything. But basically you've got, the pictures here, everything about the property, where it is, which is obviously none of this is true, but all I would have to do at this point is hit publish and it would be available. So that's something to think about. Any questions on Zillow? If not, another one is, or on Craigslist, here's Zillow. Again, if you want to do one, we probably won't do one on this one, but you can go over here to sell, post for sale by owner. Here's the thing. I want to give you a good little tip here with Zillow. I don't put my whole ad up there. Matter of fact, I only put 2 pictures. What Zillow is going to do is they're going to do a verification call with you and just ask you a lot of times how much it is, what the address is, or the zip code. Sometimes they may ask you if you can in control of the property. You are if you have a contract. But you're going to put an address in here. Four. So if you put that in there, it's going to ask, is that a accurate listing? Well, actually that's not. If it is, you can move it around. If it's not, let's just put yes, it is. Just for time's sake, what's my price? Let's go $10,000 again. Photos. Now I would only put 2 photos in right now, because what I want them to do is to approve the ad, say, yes, it's approved. It'll be up within the next 24, 48 hours. Once it's up, I can come back here and I can, at that point in time, I can change, edit, add the whole ad in, all my pictures. They don't go back and look at edits. Again, right here is where you want to do vacant land. It'll ask the lot size. You can do that acres or square footage. You can do your describing home, your phone number, all that stuff. So that's, I don't want to go too far with that because they get a little crazy, but that is the best way of doing that right there with that ad. So this back up. Second. All right. One second here. All right. There we get back on track here. So we talked about Zillow and Craigslist. Facebook Marketplace is pretty easy too. You go through it. One thing you want to know about Facebook Marketplace is that you don't do it in the real estate section. Do it under miscellaneous. There's not, the real estate section forces bathrooms and things like that. And we've had plenty of hits and sell most of our properties actually off of Facebook Marketplace in the miscellaneous listing. So that's the area that you would want to do that in. Other marketing options out there. There's a couple. Multiple listing system is one. One of the things with the flat fee, some of the pros and cons of flat fee listing. That's where you may go to these sites, and there's several out there, and they may charge you a flat fee of $300 to list it and that sort of thing. Sometimes you've got to pay a half a commission to the buyer's agent if a buyer's agent is involved. But it lets you get it on, and you can actually, a lot of the sites, if you've got a contract, if you notice the contract that we shared a couple lessons back, actually states in it that you're allowed to market the property. And that's what they are going to want to see, is that you're allowing them to market the property. So that's something that way you can put it up there. A regular realtor listing is another way. Most times though, if you don't own it, realtors will not list it. A lot of states, they can't. North Carolina, they can do it. Most will not, unless they're investor friendly. I'm gonna skip over neighbor letters for a minute, and let's talk about signs on the property. Well, a lot of times my properties aren't near me. How can I put a sign on it? You can actually advertise, or you can Google, people that'll put signs on your property. And there's different apps and things that you can, it's GPS, you can tell they actually put one. But maybe you've got a property that's near your house. How many signs do I need to put? I put one on the property, land for sale, call my number. I also find an intersection that's relatively busy that the cars are going to have to stop in. And I put one of those arrow signs that says, land for sale and my phone number. It may be a mile, 2 miles, 3 miles away from the actual property. What I'm trying to get is people will say they can't find it, but they can call me and then I can direct them in. And it helps build a buyer's list that we'll talk about later. Now back to neighbor letters. How many neighbor letters do you want to send? Do I only mail to ones that touch the property, or other neighbors too? That's a good question. It depends on the property. Sometimes if it's a larger parcel, or depending on the area it's at, I may go farther than just the properties that touch it. Now, let's say it's a neighborhood property, still may go a little bit further, but I definitely want to hit the ones that touch it, because somebody that's living beside it may not know how to get a hold of that owner or even know that it's for sale or how to get it. So you're advertising, you send them a letter, hey, I got this property, wanted to give you an opportunity to buy it first. You can sell something like that. How do you pull these neighbor leads? How do you get the neighbors? How you get their addresses and things like that? Well, you can pull it through sites like Agent Pro, list sources like Agent Pro. You can actually circle a diagram around. It'll pull up all the names of neighbors within that diagram. Or you can go to the county GIS site, find your property, then click on the properties around it and extract the information, the owner information, and mail the information that way. That's something that you may want to do yourself, or you may want to have your VA do it. Let's look at, let's see here. I want to show you one of the letters. Okay. So this is a neighbor letter that doesn't have the price on it. I've got two that I send out. I have one that'll put a price on it. Sometimes I don't. This one is, it's basically, that's my company information. Hello, my name's Mike, and I own or have 3 acres of land near yours in El Paso. Again, that's just, you just have to correct that to where you need it. I want to inform you that we're selling this lot. We want to give you the opportunity to make an offer on it before we put it on the market. The market value of the property, which is around, is $25,000. Don't worry, we don't want you to pay market value. So you're already telling them, okay, you can get it at a better deal. I wanted to offer it to you first. It's important that, give you an opportunity first. We just want to give you an opportunity to make a fair offer on the property. Do not miss out on this opportunity to expand your property ownership as well as your privacy and beautiful views. If that's the case, each one you may have to tweak the letter a little bit. This property is not fit for you, but you know someone who it is, feel free to extend the offer to friends and family. So like, let's say it's a lot beside me that's vacant. Well, I may not need it or can afford it. Maybe I got a friend or family members looking for a lot to build a house. Send it out. In some cases, we may be able to offer you a finder's fee for helping. That's kind of entice them. If they don't want it, that maybe they'll send it to somebody that does. When we place it on the market, we're expecting it to sell fast. So please don't wait to contact us. Again, action words, text, call today, and that sort of thing. And I typically put one picture of it on there. So that is one of the letters. Let me see here. Okay. Show you this other one. This is the neighbor letter with the price. This one, basically the same thing. Discounted neighbor price that we're offering it to you for is $12,995. I'm still showing the market value so they can tell that they're getting a deal. That's the only thing that really changes in it. Again, it's just putting the price in it. You may or may not want a price. If you want them to call, sometimes it's better not to put a price. Sometimes it's good to put a price. It just depends. Share my technology here. So we talked about the multiple listing service, flat fee versus realtor listing. Talked about neighbor letters now and how to get that information, whether it be through a list source like Agent Pro or your county GIS site. And if you want to put signs up. I want to touch a little bit also on handling buyer inquiries. Let's look at that. Some phone calls. Buyers are going to call, either going to call you, text you, email you, or if it's on Facebook Marketplace, they're going to send it in that Facebook Messenger. That's the primary ways that they're going to get out to you. If it's a phone call, make sure you just respond in a timely manner. Have a good voicemail that says, professional voicemail saying that you'll get back to them. Now, here's where something comes in when we talk about communications. Initially when we were getting properties, we had one phone system. Either we were taking the calls or we had a call center taking the calls. If we were taking them themselves, I probably don't want the same phone number that my sellers would call for my buyers to call. I would want that because it's going to be two different messages. So you can do that a couple different ways. You can get Google Voice that gives you a couple numbers, depending on the number of email, Gmail accounts you got. CallRail is another thing that's got multiple lines. In our case, we also have an extra cell phone that we use as a business line too. So there's multiple ways out there to get two lines. Some are very inexpensive. Text, respond to them in a reasonable time. But you don't necessarily have to respond right at that time. I would suggest, and I'll talk about it in the messenger, set up twice a day. I try to answer texts and messenger things in the morning and the evening. That way I touch everybody that day. Because if you have to stop and do it every time somebody, texts you or something, it can get a little hairy sometimes. Email, respond in a reasonable time with that if they email you. Typically, though, the messenger is, again, you don't have to respond immediately, but maybe a couple times a day. And here's what you get in Facebook Messenger. Is this still available? Because it's just one button they can put. Don't just put yes and go on, because it is available. My typical response is, yes, it is. What specific questions can I answer for you about the property? And you can put that out. You can type that out one time and copy and paste it and put it in the different things to ask. Is this still available? What you're doing is you're just not saying yes, but you're trying to prompt them to ask more questions about the property, trying to determine how busy they or how serious they really are with it. So that's the thing. Buyer's list. When people call you, you want to take that information, because the property that you have may not be the property for them. A couple things. Well, what do I need to have on my buyer's list? Obviously, you need their name, the area or location of interest. And that means, if they have a specific northeast part of Burke County, or, Burke County and surrounding counties, just something like that. Obviously, you want their phone number and email address. Are they a cash buyer or a finance buyer? And what's their ballpark budget? Are they wanting to be 20,000 or below? Because if they are, I don't need to send them a $60,000 property. And a little note section if you have anything else. How many lists are needed? Well, that depends. Sometimes a list for each reason. That should be a list for each area sometimes. And what that means is, basically, take North Carolina. We have mountains. We have what's called Piedmont in the middle of the state, and we have the coast. So if somebody looking for mountain property, I don't need to send them a thing on a coastal piece of property I've got. So I have a mountain North Carolina buyers list, and I have a central North Carolina buyers list, and I have a coastal North Carolina buyers list. Right? Because of the way it is. Now, some areas, it's also because I work a lot of the area in that state. Now, if you're just working one particular area in a state, you may not need multiples, and especially starting off. VIP buyers list. This is another, maybe you want to put them on a special list that or maybe you've got a couple buyers that buy multiple properties. I have a couple buyers that's bought multiple properties off of me, so they definitely get on the VIP list before anybody else. So that's something to think about. One thing I wanted to show you. Do that. Ask me, what's a buyer's list look like? It can be very simple. It can be areas of interest, price range, cash or finance, their name, email, phone, any notes, just a basic spreadsheet like that. Depending on the CRM system, if you're at that point in your business where you've got a system that manages all your properties under contract and things like that, it may have a built-in buyers list. If not, just something very basic like this is all you need. So it doesn't have to be anything, extravagant by any means. I think I want to touch on tonight is notifying your buyers list about a property. How do I notify these buyers? Okay, I got a buyers list, and that thing will grow over time. I know ours has probably close to 1,000 people on it if I combined all my lists together all over, different states and things. But some people have 2, 3, 4,000 people. You can email it out yourself, go through there, and you can do if you're really good with spreadsheets and Excel, you can kind of draft things out of it. You may have a virtual assistant that emails it out for you. But the simplest way, and most people, especially starting out, will use MailChimp. That's what we use, because I think you can do, oh my gosh, it's several thousand before you even are charged. So it's very simple what I do. I just have it'll just say new property in coastal North Carolina. And the email will say, that's the subject line. Email will just say something very simple to the point of new property available before market in Pender County, North Carolina. If interested, please click on the link below. And it's a link to my website for that particular property. It takes them directly to that property. I don't go in and list and sell the property on the email. If they're interested, they'll go to it. If not, that's not a big deal. Some CRM systems actually has a way you can blast out a buyer's list email. There's other email blast companies out there, but again, MailChimp is probably the most recognized one out there. So that's the one that most people know the most about. Questions? What we're going to do, I don't want to get into the next section, because what we're going to get into on our next call is going to literally be going over the contract, making the sale, actually going over what a cash contract is, how to complete that cash contract, and also how to complete a finance contract where it's simple to complete and very understandable and things like that. So that's definitely something we're going to do. We're going to talk about types of closings, as well as some other things, and start getting into, after you made some deals, what else can you do in your business? How can I scale my business? Things like that. But I wanted to touch on tonight, again, building the ad, because that's a very important part. It's probably one of the most important parts of your business, is building a correct ad, because that correct ad is what's going to make you money. That's where your money's going to come from. And you want to be able to track those buyers or keep up with those buyers so that they're easy to get to. Any questions? If there's no questions, that's all I have. One thing I do want to share with you. If you want more information about what we're doing, if you want to know how to jumpstart your business, you can get on a call with me or my friend, or not my friend, but one of my team members. It's me or usually Nathan. He's a team member of mine. Basically, we can talk you through and give you kind of a consultation of where your business is, where you need to go. So you may call me and say, well, I'm here in my business. How can I get somewhere else? And we'll do that. All you have to do, if you're interested in that, is simply go to startinvestingwithmike.com. Again, just the startinvestingwithmike.com. It'll give you a link to where you can actually set up an appointment time on calendar. I try to be on those calls. I'm on probably 85-90% of them also, unless I'm busy and my team member handles it. But we'll be glad to talk over if you got a particular deal or something. We'll be glad to go over that with you and see if we can't help you in some way. That's our goal. I enjoy doing this. People ask me all the time, why do you teach? And I tell them that's my give back in life. That's my why in life. I can buy and sell properties all day long, and that doesn't help anyone out. It's at me. And I would rather give back something that's been very a blessing with our family with buying and selling not only land but other things too. But I really like the land aspect, and as far as our bread and butter, that's what our bread and butter comes from. So I appreciate you getting on the call. Again, if you have any questions, you ask me now. If you don't, go to that startinvestingwithmike.com. Be glad to answer any questions there as well. If not, then that's the end, and we will be back again. Wow, we'll be in June, second Monday in June, 5 o'clock Eastern time, and it's going to be really cool. We're literally going to walk through and complete contracts and show you exactly a good contract. The contracts I'll show you has been approved by the by attorneys and things like that you can use in your business. So thank you again. I appreciate it, and I look forward for you guys being on the next call. Have a great rest of the week.